Nerd Rage Renegades.
Everyone, welcome to this week's episode of Renegade Reviews. These are your books for the 16th of May. So if you're listening to this on Thursday, these are the books that hit the store shelves yesterday, and we're here to talk about three publishers' books. We finally got into IDW, so Chief has been reading some IDW books. Of course, we've got Boom, and as always, we have DC Comics.
Yes, indeed.
So let's go ahead. Let's start off with the newcomers. This is the first time we'll be able to talk about them. You got in. I didn't get to read any this week, but you got to get in and read some IDW or some IDW.
Yes, I did, sir. I read the first one. I read was the Star Trek: The Next Generation Through the Mirror, number 3. It's number 3. It's got a bunch of different variant covers from like all different artists. There's some pretty cool ones here. There's one of just Michael, like a photo of Michael Dorn as Worf, just giving an angry stare. I think that's my favorite. If I see that in the shop, I'm going to pick up that hard copy if I see that variant.
I am Klingon.
Yeah, he looks dead serious. Okay, so we got it's written by David Tipton and Scott Tipton. And there's kind of in the back of it, there's this weird little backup story with I'm not sure if it's supposed to be, because this is the first week we got to review these, and this is number 3 of this series, but I'm not really sure if it's lore that's like a half lore, half Borg thing that's in the B story.
Uh-huh.
But it's like, it's either Data or lore, but they're like half Borg, and they break into this facility, and they find who he calls Emperor Spock. And it's old Spock sitting there. And I'm sure that has something to do with the rest of what goes on. But this is, Through the Mirror, it deals with the Mirror universe from the old original series. We had Mirror Mirror, where the evil Kirk and Spock.
Right.
From the other dimension. This is the evil version of Picard in the TNG crew.
Oh,
and so what they've been doing is they have been hopping back and forth. They had conquered and utilized most of the resources in their own galaxy, in their own quadrant, in their own universe. So what they've been doing is they've been opening the Mirror Dimension Gateway and jumping into the regular TNG timeline and killing ships and stealing shit, and then stocking their own stores with stuff from the other universe, and they're taking it back and selling it to other people in their universe. And so they send, in this one, it's Barclay and Troy from the evil universe are sent to try to hijack the Enterprise. And it's basically, they're going to put like a false communication system that they can't detect, and they're going to rip off the Enterprise. And the Barclay from this hardcore universe, some guys, on the TV series, Barclay got a lot of shit because he's kind of a quiet guy.
Yeah.
I swore. Beep. But he got a lot of crap from other guys from people because he's kind of a wishy-washy guy and he's kind of quiet. Well, they try that with this Barclay in the elevator deal. He's going to communications, I think, and these two guys are kind of ribbing him about something, and he ends up like putting the guy's arm behind his back and like, I am Barclay, you will not talk to me this way. Like, totally different personality. He's supposed to be staying low key, but he flips out on some dudes. And then Troy runs into Riker, and then she starts acting weird, like how she normally doesn't act, and Riker's pretty much onto her. So I mean, they're not doing a very smooth job of moving over to the other universe. But that kind of cuts off there where they just invaded the Enterprise and they're getting ready to pull off their plan of hijacking the Enterprise up and stealing stuff from it, and like ship parts or whatever they need. And then you get to this story, this little added on, tacked on part with Emperor Spock. So I'm kind of interested. I don't know if IDW. I don't know if I can go back on these. I don't know if they archive everything. So I'll have to go back and see if I can first couple of issues of this to find out what's really going on with Spock and all that. But pretty good book. I kind of dug it. The art and story A is by Josh Hood. Colors by David Garcia Cruz. The art and story B is by J.K. Woodward. And what's crazy, man, comic books now, they got all kinds of credits. Used to be like Lee Kirby. Like now it's like, man, you got letters. There's like companies just for letterers. Letters is like a big deal. So you got And World Design doing the letters. The editor, Sarah Gatos, editorial assist, Chase Moratz. There's like all publisher, Greg Goldstein, and production design by Neil Uyatake. And a pretty good series. I've always kind of liked the IDW Star Trek series. I think they did the one with that was the pre-story to the second new Star Trek movie with Khan.
Right.
They did that Khan like origin series. That was pretty awesome. I really did. It explained why Khan went from Ricardo Montalban to, or a guy who looked like Ricardo Montalban, I guess, to Benedict Cumberbatch.
Right.
And it kind of makes that explanation because his people are genetically designed. He can like manipulate his appearance. That's part of his genetic enhancement. So a pretty good series. You can't really go wrong with an IDW Star Trek series. So I thought I'd just jump right into this one and read number 3. But pretty entertaining stuff. Like I said, I gotta go back and read the other stuff. But the old Emperor Spock is definitely intriguing enough for me to want to read it. But I'd give it a good grade. The next one on my list was Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Universe number 22. This is what's weird to me is that this one has more of a. I think this is the variant cover here, but I really dig the old school look of the turtles in the variant, like I don't know. I guess this is a variant cover. It's like just an insert of art in the main book. I'm not sure, but let's see. This one is by writer is Paul Allor, A-L-L-O-R. Artist Mark Torres. This is the second part of the Lost Causes arc. Colorist Rhonda Pattison. Sorry. But pretty good. This is about the Triceratons and the what are they called? The Utroms, the Krang race.
Right.
Little aliens, guys. They're trying to. They're on this island called Burno Island, and they're having like a peace accord. But neither side. There's factions on both sides that don't want it to happen. And Donatello is there, and he becomes aware of this plot to assassinate the representatives of each of these races that are coming together for this peace accord. And and Krang is like dead apparently in this world now. Krang has been eaten by something. So Krang's not around. There's all these other little aliens that are like Krang. But Donatello catches this guy in the act of he's going to assassinate. He's got a rifle. Donatello catches him. There's a scuffle. And he ties him up and finds out the plan that they're going to take out the representatives at this peace accord thing. And Donatello shows up and kind of handles the assassins behind the scenes to avoid a big dust up because this is a very tenuous. It's kind of relevant now, like the Middle East peace, how the peace is tenuous on the borders there all the time, and it's kind of like these two alien races are finding peace. They have to live together and they need each other to survive, because if they don't find a way to make peace with each other, that it's the end of both their races. And so Donatello takes care of this assassination plot behind the scenes and doesn't let the general populace of either side know what really happened. And they sign this peace accord, and then they show that they show the people, look, we've signed this, and look, we've learned how to grow food here finally after all this time. And Donatello's like, wow, that's pretty amazing. When all said and done, he's like, it's pretty amazing that you were able to come up with these plants that, to get them to grow in this soil here and as a food source. And they're like, these are all fake. It's like, this is all part of the show. And so it's like, it's a really like interesting look at like just politics in general and how these two sides are. Should the populace know the truth or should they not? Should they be lying? Is lying for the greater good acceptable to the people of these people? So I mean, it's pretty cool. And what I thought was kind of interesting is the artwork is a little more original Turtles on this one, like a little more like old school turtley, more hardcore look to the Turtles. And Eastman doesn't even write this one. Eastman writes the what's
the main turtle title.
The main turtle title. But pretty good stuff. And then there's a backup. I can never remember the name of this guy because I'm not like the biggest turtle fan in the world. But the crocodile dude,
Leatherhead.
Yeah, there's like a little backup. Let's see. Yeah, there's a little backup with him in it where he's fighting. He kind of wants to die. Like he doesn't really have a purpose. He's kind of a weird mutant and he hates being a monster. He doesn't want to live anymore. And then he dives in the ocean and he finds there's a mutant squid that happened because of when the Technodrome mutated everything when it was destroyed, I guess. It mutated everything in the surrounding environment, so the squid's attacking a seal, and he saves the seal. And then he decides that he's not going to die. He's going to try to save humanity from mutants and monsters. So he goes back to the city and crawls in the sewer, and that's the end of the book. But yeah, I dig the Turtles books from IDW. Always have. Let's see, what's the other Turtles book that I read was the straight up the title. And there's several variant IDW, man, with the variant covers, man. There's some crazy good artwork on some of these. And a couple of these are like totally old school original Turtles artwork on the covers, which I really dig. I used to have the run of the first issues of the real old Mutant Ninja. I lost it. I had a short box of comics. And I had the original Turtles run in one of them, and I lost it in a move, and I don't have them anymore. So, really cool artwork on some of these variant covers. This Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles number 82, pretty far into this series.
Oh, yeah.
But really cool. They go to there's like a pantheon of these weird animal like leaders of these things, and the artwork in this is really, I really dug this artwork because it's like kind of a mix of the cartoon TV Turtles and a little bit of a mix of the maybe the movie, but also they're just kind of weird mutant human turtley looking things. They don't look like quite any way I've ever seen the Turtles done before. But really cool stuff. It's a story by Kevin Eastman, Bobby Curnow, and Tom Waltz. Script Tom Waltz, art Dave Wachter, colors Rhonda Pattison again. Letter Sean Lee, then you got editor Bobby Curnow and publisher Greg Goldstein once again. But this is some really involved stuff, man. This Turtle series, I kind of wish I'd have been following it a little closer because it is really good. They have to go to this Toad Baron, and they need a way to get access. Because the Rat King is like got some plan going on where he's leading these children off to pull off some scheme. And they need one of these, I don't know if they're like gods or like animal totem gods or something, but they go to this Baron Toad. And it's pretty funny stuff, by the way. The artwork is really fantastic, like I said, but the little tadpole guys that try to attack him that don't know how to fight. There's a really funny scene where one guy's like got banana nunchucks. And he's trying to hit Michelangelo with them, and then another one's got a push broom, and he's hitting Donatello in the back, and he's just laughing. He's like it's not even hurting him. But so they defeat these guys with neck pitches, Vulcan death grips, and then they talk to this Toad Baron, and he agrees that he doesn't want the Rat King taking over anything either, so he agrees to at least show them the doors to this pantheon of these animal kings. And there's like one called like Manmoth, and then you got Rat King's one of them. There's like all these doors in this guy's kingdom. So he leads the turtles there. And then there's the subplot going on with Baxter Stockman, where he's put the Triceratons on the Burno Island. So it's not exactly connected exactly up with the universe, but it's dealing with the same problem that's going on with the aliens and the Triceratons on Burno Island, and that's where Baxter Stockman stuck them. Put both of the races on this island, and and the government wants access to them, and so they come and threaten him. Splinter has got different acolytes now. There's a woman here. It looks like maybe I can't tell if that's a. No, I guess it's a. Just from the artwork, I couldn't tell. But there's a guy here. He's apparently training humans. There's a human guy here.
Mm-hmm.
That's with him, and then so the Toad shows the turtles where to find. First he takes them to a feast, and Michelangelo's eating this like turkey leg thing, and then it grows wings and flies away. So it's some weird mutant food. And he takes them to the. It's reminiscent of Nightmare Before Christmas with all the different doors to like Christmas Town and stuff.
Right.
But they got all these doors. One's for Sister Akka, who is I guess some sort of bird deity. Then you've got Brother Manmoth, who's obviously a mammoth, like a mutant guy. And then you got Gothano, who's looks like a grudge ghost with tentacles. It's kind of Lovecrafty. And then of course you got Rat King, and then Jaguar and Kitsune are these deities, and they have to choose one to go try to help them against the Rat King. And he says, but although none of them will help you, and they'll almost certainly try to kill you. So they have to pick a door. So they pick Manmoth. So that's where they end up going. They walk through the door into the icy wasteland to find Manmoth, and they come upon him, and he's a huge mammoth guy with an axe. So then next month we'll get to see how that interaction goes, and whether or not he's going to help the turtles in their quest against the Rat King. But yeah, I love these turtle series, man. I could read these all the time, and especially that one right there. The regular title, the artwork is just amazing. But high marks for IDW for what I read.
Yeah, I'm looking at the turtle books right now. The artwork definitely is amazing. I've loved IDW books. I will say that there are IDW books in the past, like especially the Transformers series.
Yeah. They did some Godzilla, right? They did the Godzilla stuff.
They've done some Godzilla stuff. Of course, they do the My Little Pony series, and now doing the Sonic the Hedgehog, which I'm super into right now.
Yeah. Oh, and Rom, Micronauts, those books come from IDW, right?
Yep, and Judge Dredd. We'll have a new miniseries at IDW. So there's just so much.
Well, I get hard copies of TMNT Universe, and I've read several of their Star Trek series, which I've really dug. So it's it's hard. I don't know. When I'm reading stuff I'm into, it's kind of hard to be real super critical of it. I mean, I would say that maybe the artwork in the TNG series is a little iffy at points, I guess. But other than that, it's pretty good. But story-wise, it's right on.
Right.
With what you'd expect from Star Trek. And pretty good stuff, man. Like I said, I love. You're not going to get me hardly to give a bad review to Star Trek or Turtles because I read those.
Right.
But pretty good stuff. I dug them. That's all I got from IDW this week.
All right, moving on to Boom Comics for the week, which is where I read quite a couple. First and foremost, continuing with the Shattered Grid storyline, Mighty Morphin Power Rangers number 27 is out this week. Written by Kyle Higgins, art by Danielle DiNuccio. I'm going to butcher your last name. I'm sorry, Danielle. Danielle DiNicuolo. Cover artist, you got the main cover, Jamal Campbell, subscription cover, Jordan Gibson, and incentive cover, Carlos Villa. Colorist, Jeremy Lawson, and of course, letterer, Jim Campbell. Continuing the Shattered Grid storyline with Lord Draken, who is a alternate universe Tommy Oliver, is he's going through the different timelines of Power Rangers and basically taking out the Power Rangers, assimilating their powers for his own, and few Rangers from each team have been able to make it out without being captured. So this follows up from the last issue where the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers have one of the Time Force Rangers and then one of the Samurai Rangers, and they get a message from the realm, from the timeline that has Power Rangers RPM. So they're sending, and then they get also word from a resistance group on Lord Draken's dimension about things that are going on. So this is kind of them finding out what's been going on with the other universes, going to RPM because the doctor at the Power Rangers RPM timeline has found a way to take out these dragon cannons that Lord Draken uses that are mega powerful. Once again, the artwork in this is stunning. I can't say enough about the artwork in this.
Covers are cool, man. I'm looking at the cover right now, and the cover's pretty amazing.
The covers are so amazing. The artwork is good. Like I said, I like that in these books. In Star Trek, I want Picard to look like Picard.
Yeah.
But in something like Power Rangers, I don't really care if they look like what they did on the TV show. I prefer that they mannerisms and everything are kind of what I expect.
It depends on what property it is, on how much you can play around with the look of the character, like features wise.
Yeah.
I mean, there's some characters like a good example for me would be Hawkeye from Marvel. Like, I don't really care how they draw Hawkeye's facial features. He doesn't really have his costume is the distinctive part of Hawkeye. Much like with the Power Rangers, I think their colors and their costumes and more their personalities are what make those the characters and not their exact facial features of the actors that played them.
Yeah. What's really cool with this issue, Zordon does send out like a message throughout the power grid, and you do get shots of the other Rangers, like you get shots of the Jungle Fury Rangers and the Rangers in space and the
So all of the different teams they're all like in this same universe, like all the different teams from all the different series?
They're all across a timeline. So they're all in a different timeline. Of course, the Mighty Morphin being the main Rangers. And then every other Ranger is a different point in the timeline of Rangers. They actually have established that a lot of these other Rangers are brought up on the stories of these of the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers.
It's kind of like Spider-Verse with the Power Rangers.
Yeah, they're legends in these other universes. But I'm really digging the story. I'm digging where it's going. I love the alternate universe kind of aspect. Tommy, the Lord Draken, is basically infused in himself with these powers of these other Rangers. But it's at a cost. It's one of those things where it's kind of like, do you really want to do this? Because it could limit your, lifespan.
Right.
Almost kind of like Thanos in Avengers with the Infinity Stones, where it was like, can you really handle another one? But there's some great, of course, great interactions with the Rangers in this. I love the story. I love it because this is more what I would expect from Power Rangers, because they're able in comic book format to flesh out the universe more than just like in the TV show where it was Monster of the Week type of a thing.
Yeah.
They're able to flesh things out so much more.
See, that's what I like about Turtles, too, and for IDW. That's another reason why it's that world is so much more in-depth in that comic book than it is on any, like, cartoon incarnation or anything.
Yeah. So, definitely, there's also the backup story, Blue Centurion and Ninjor. So you get that backup story. It's only a couple pages. It's and it deals with the Turbo Rangers.
Oh, Turbo.
Yeah. So, they're like putty Turbo Rangers are in that, but really good book. The Shattered Grid storyline. I'm invested. Let's just put it that way. I'm invested.
The cover looks really cool. Is the artwork pretty consistent as far as inside as it is on the cover?
It's not as detailed on the inside as the cover is, which, of course, a lot of times that is how it is. The cover is always a little more detailed.
Well, a lot of times you get a totally separate artist doing the outside and the inside.
But it's the colors are great. Everybody's color corresponds to what they need. Really, it's the artwork is fantastic. I just put it that way. Definitely something I think everybody should pick up. if you're a Power Rangers fan, the Shattered Grid storyline is just amazing.
Yeah, that's Boom seems to take some of these properties like Power Rangers and kind of make them into something, kind of flesh them out more. Like especially like Adventure Time. We were talking about Adventure Time, like regular show last week, but they flesh out those cartoons to where they're like, it's not just this 15-minute cartoon where you get a funny little story. It's like it's their world. You're in their world, and different characters pop up. Pretty good stuff. Is that the only Boom you read this week?
No, I read Fence number 6.
Yeah, I was going to read that one too, but I just ran out of time.
So this book, I'm coming in at number 6 of this, so I've got to go back and figure out what happened in the first 5 issues. But the publisher on this one is actually Boom Box, which is like Boom Studios' imprint.
Yeah.
Writer C.S. Pacat, artist Joanna the Mad. Her name is Joanna the Mad. I like that. She also did the cover. Joanna Left.
It kind of looks like something. It's another one of those ones. Oh, sorry. It kind of looked like one of those ones that Image would put out. Like,
yeah.
Like not what I'm used to from Boom. It looks like more of a Image title.
Jim Campbell once again on. I think did I say he did the lettering for Power Rangers? Let me pull that up again real quick just so I can see. No. Oh, okay. Jamal Campbell was the cover for Power Rangers. This one, the letterer is Jim Campbell. So in this story coming into it, apparently, now like I said, this is what I'm getting from this. Because I'm coming in fresh. I haven't read the first 5 issues yet. But it's about fencing. The book is about fencing, which is kind of why I was drawn to it and said I need to read this because it's interesting to have a book centered around fencing. So I really was interested in that aspect of it to begin with. So there's a character by the name of Saiji Katayama, and he's apparently like this really amazing fencer, but he loses his match in this tournament, and he walks away. It's intercut. You got 2 stories in this. You got his story, which they're all the same story, but he loses his match, and then another rookie on this fencing team, this high school fencing team, has his first match. And he wins, and his match is against his much taller opponent, and he wins it. And he kind of realizes that he's kind of tied with this so-called perfect fencer who just lost, because they're both, they both have a win and a loss. So he's like, we're on the same level, as far as friendly competition goes. So he talks to Katayama and basically tells him that. He's like, look, we're on the same level. And Katayama is like, look, you're a loser. I'm the perfect fighter. You're a loser. You'll always be a loser. You're never going to be on my level as a fencer. So the next match comes up for the kid, and he finds out who he's fencing is the person that Katayama lost to. So he gets it into his head that if he beats this fencer that Katayama lost to, it's kind of like by proxy he beat Katayama. Because he beat the person that Katayama couldn't in this tournament.
Sounds right to me.
Yeah, I definitely got to go back and read the first couple issues of this so I can kind of catch up on who everybody is. The artwork is very good artwork. I mean, it's simplistic, but it's also got an anime kind of feel to it.
It definitely kind of reminds me a little bit of a couple of Image books. There was one that they put out a couple of years ago that was about chefs. It wasn't even about no capes, no superpowers. It was about chefs, like a reality TV cooking show or something. And then there was another one called Five Weapons that was about an assassin school for young kids that I was reading for a while. That it kind of reminds me a little bit of both of those. But it really reminds me of something that, like, and this Dodge City does it. They really remind me of something Image would put out rather than Boom.
Yeah, I really enjoy. I mean, this was a fun read. You know, you'd have they'd look one way, but then they would do that anime like big, like small eyes, or just pupils instead of irises, and every once in a while for me it is refreshing to read a book that's not, you know, action adventure. It's not a superhero book. Every once in a while it's nice to just have something kind of like this, and especially. I mean, there are so many animes and manga out there that are like centered around sports. You know, there's ones with soccer, baseball, tennis, volleyball. Reading this on fencing, which I'm a fan. I actually enjoy watching fencing in the Olympics. It's like I could care less about track and field and shit like that, or stuff like that in the Olympics. But like fencing is just one of those that I'm like, man, I love watching it because it definitely is like this, like a gentlemanly battle, you know. It's just so interesting. So definitely a good book. I have to give this one props. It really is good.
Right on. For Boom this week, I read one, and then there's a hardcover out this week that I kind of wanted to talk about. I haven't got a chance to read the whole thing, but it looks pretty cool. But I read Steven Universe number 16. This one is kind of like I started reading Steven Universe when they first started putting this out. And the one problem I have with this book is that part of the appeal of Steven Universe is the voice acting on the cartoon for me.
Uh-huh.
And I think it's the mannerisms and the voice of Steven are what makes him an endearing character. And I'm not sure that translates as well over to comic book as something like Adventure Time or Regular Show, where they've just got some funny jokes. Because Steven Universe is it's funny, but there's a lot of more heartfelt stuff in it that has to do with family and individualism and all sorts of things like that. Plus you've got this overreaching arc of the crystal gems in space and this alien race coming to Earth, and at one time had ruled the Earth and were defeated by rose quartz, and the Earth was defended by the crystal gems. But this Steven Universe number 16, it's just kind of it's kind of like an episode of the show would be. Like they're at the pizza place, and the daughters that work at the pizza place want to go to this concert, so Steven and Amethyst are going to go with them, and then they run into hijinks with a flat tire, and then they think something's stalking them in the woods, so Amethyst and Steven merge, or whatever they call that when the crystal gems combine together.
Right.
And the fusion, that's what it is. And it turns out that it's Steven's big pink lion that's just messing with them. And then so they have to call Steven's dad and the girl's dad, and they come and replace the tire. And then it's like, oh well, you're grounded, but you can go see your concert if they come back or what. And it's just kind of like it's almost like it's like the outline of the cartoon version of that,
right?
But without the voice acting and the like endearing qualities to Steven's personality. It's kind of flat, I'd say. I just maybe it's just me. I know there's a lot of people who love Steven Universe. It's a whole rich, interactive, like not interactive, but it's a rich, like involved, deep universe.
The Children of the Night of Rockford.
Yeah, that's Rockford. No, I dig Steven Universe. I've got like all the pops of Steven Universe somewhere here. Like I've always dug that show because I thought it was cool, like how the crystal gems are all real gems, and it's like they're these aliens from space and all this. Like I kind of think it's a cool concept for a show. I'm just not sure that the comics for me though. It falls kind of flat. It's not. They don't punch up the jokes in it. It's like an episode of Steven Universe with no audio. So it's like you're reading the subtitles of a Steven Universe episode. So with Adventure Time or a regular show, they'll throw in a bunch of funny jokes and stuff, and this just seems like it's like writing for the show, like how the characters would say it, but it's not the same thing. Not hearing the voice actors do it. Mm-hmm. So it's maybe not for me, but cool, good artwork, looks just like the
it does. It looks just like the show, and I I can understand where you're coming from. With that is with a character like Steven, or even with like Pearl, who's probably my favorite character on the whole show.
Yeah.
Is their voices.
I'm a Garnet fan myself.
Their voices really do play so much into the character.
Well, it's like this. If you saw the episode where he sings the Cookie Cat song.
Yeah, I love the Cookie.
I
love that.
If you had that on mute and just read the Cookie Cat lyrics on the screen while you looked at the artwork, it's Steven's voice that makes that funny. It's Steven's voice that just his weird, neurotic, high-pitched little kid voice singing Cookie Cat is what makes that funny to me. That's why I like it. And I just don't know that it translates so well to written comic book and artwork. But I mean, I'm sure there's some people that really like it. I try not to bash any book, but I mean, it's just definitely that's one that's not really for me. I definitely dig the regular show and the Adventure Time a lot more than that. Did you have another one? Because I
was going to say the writer Grace Kraft, artist Ria Brego, colorist Whitney Cougar, Mike Fiorentino for the letters of this book. This one was also from another imprint. Boom has another imprint, which is Kaboom, which is they do like you see like the Steven Universe books, the like Adventure Time. They're usually under the Kaboom imprint.
Yeah.
For Boom Studios. But no, what's the hardcover that you wanted to talk about?
This is a French author. I'm going to butcher this name, so forgive me ahead of time. I'm not sure how to pronounce this. Loic, Loic, with like an umlaut over the I. I don't know how to pronounce it. But Locatelli Kornsky is the writer and artist of this. And the publisher for this, it's an imprint of Boom, but it's called Archaea.
Okay.
And it looks pretty cool. The artwork kind of reminds it's a fantasy story, and the artwork looks kind of a cross between like manga and like if you know who Edward Gorey is that did all the like Masterpiece Theater animations and stuff. That weird kind of macabre artwork that he used to do. It looks like it's kind of a cross between that and like manga anime type art. But it's this fantasy story, and it deals with all these different kingdoms and stuff. And like I said, I've only got a chance to kind of browse through it and really get a chance to get into it. But I'm definitely intrigued by it.
Is that Persephone?
Yeah, Persephone is the name of the book. Sorry, I should have said that ahead of time. Persephone, it's a new hardcover coming out from Boom this week. It looks like it's 152 pages long if you're into long run hardcovers. But man, yeah, I'm telling you, the artwork looks it looks pretty cool. It's different. It's a French writer and artist. This is, I guess, getting an idea of how they do comic books in France.
Yeah, and he did the writing and the art, translated by Edward Gavin. French author Loic Locatelli Kornwutsky, I approached it too, presents a modern-day retelling of the Greek myth of Demeter and her daughter Persephone in an exciting universe that blends high fantasy adventure with visuals reminiscent of Japanese anime and 1950s American-style comics. Persephone may be the adopted daughter of the famous magician Demeter, but she struggles to find her place alongside such a force of nature. Her desire
I can see that.
Where she belongs takes her on an epic adventure deep into the underworld, where she'll discover who or what she is. Definitely one I'm interested in by just reading that, since it deals with Greek myths and everything.
Yeah, it looks really cool. Like I said, I thought it looked a lot like the way Edward Gorey draws. It looks like a little mix of, but yeah, I can see the like 50s style art in there too.
And I can see like looking at it, I can see like some Studio Ghibli kind of influence in there, and
yeah, it looks pretty cool. I'm definitely going to try and check that out this week.
Yeah.
But that's what I got from Boom. I guess moving on to DC. This is a pretty big issue out this week from DC.
Oh, big issue. So let's start off. Let's talk about Batman. This is a big. This is the end of the Booster Gold arc for Batman. And just I got to give it up to Tom King
Oh man, I feel so bad for Booster Gold at the end of this,
I do
man.
too. I mean, this story, we've really seen Booster Gold's mind
Yeah, we saw him lose it
lose it.
completely,
I mean,
completely lose his mind.
he's kind of at that snapping. He snapped. Booster Gold is bye bye.
Yeah, and oh man, the ending, the last couple of lines from Mr. Gold. We'll get to it, but I mean, oh man, it's kind of chilling what's going on there at the end of that book.
So this dealing, of course, with Booster Gold going back in time and saving Bruce Wayne's parents. At the end of last issue, this alternate timeline Catwoman killed the timeline Bruce Wayne's parents. So Bruce Wayne
And Alfred, I think she got Alfred too
she
in the
killed like
mix.
everybody. She killed like everybody that was that meant anything to Bruce Wayne in this universe. So
Yeah,
this universe's Bruce Wayne has repaired. He's had people repair Booster Gold's electronic companion who can do the time travel.
right.
But they need Booster to activate the machine. The machine would not do what they want it to do because they need Booster Gold.
Yeah, it
And
has to be his voice. It's got to be his exact voice, or it won't work.
it has to be his exact voice. And Bruce has been keeping Booster Gold chained basically in the caverns underneath Wayne Manor.
Yeah, howling like a madman with like a year-old beard.
A year-old beard, and he's still got he's like muscle, but he's emaciated.
Yeah, he hasn't been fed well.
Yeah, he is thin as hell. Which this book, Tony S. Daniel just drew some fantastic art for this book.
Yeah, it's this arc has been one of the darker Tom King. I mean, Tom King's wrote some dark stuff so far.
Yeah,
This is
I
one
mean
of
the
the
I Am
darker.
Gotham. I mean the I Am Gotham arc was pretty dark. The very first arc that he wrote for this, but this one's dark on a different level.
It's weird that he still gets jokes in there though. There's still some humor in it. Even when Booster Gold's losing his mind in this, he's still joking.
Yeah, I mean he basically tells the story of who he is in this book, who is Booster Gold, as he's
Yeah,
getting a haircut and shaved and cleaned up. But he still has the wherewithal to kind of outsmart Bruce Wayne in the book, because this alternate
the
world,
spoiled, uneducated, like
yeah,
undetective Bruce Wayne, not the actual Batman. Like he could never do that.
the spoiled rich boy.
Yeah,
But he wants Booster to go back, like to the year before before Catwoman killed his parents, and stop it. But Booster Gold being a one step ahead, which is this. That's one of the interesting things for me with this book is we know our Bruce Wayne, the main timeline Bruce Wayne, is always one step ahead. This
yeah.
Bruce Wayne is not that Bruce Wayne, and Booster Gold was able to get that step ahead of him to where when they go to time travel, he says, take us back to before Bruce Wayne's parents died. Which
Yeah.
means they took him back to the time machine took him back to the original timeline.
Well, he gave a wink to Skeets,
Yeah.
the robot, and that's a really dark scene of what's going down. But there's still the joke about the winking. I saw you wink. He's like, no, I didn't. He's like, yeah, you did. You winked. What is that for?
Yeah. So they go back and I don't want to give it away. Because what happens in this book, it's so surreal that it's leaving a lasting trauma on Booster Gold.
Yeah, it's.
I don't want to give away what happens. I really don't.
It's great. It's really good what happens. But oh man, well, we kind of have to say what happens because at the end of it, he can't get clean. He's got blood on him and he won't come off. And you can clearly see he thinks there's blood on his goggles because of the blood. We won't tell you what happened with the blood, but where the blood comes from gets on Booster Gold.
Yeah.
And it gets on his goggles. And at the end of the thing, when everything's set to right, he's still, even though it didn't really happen, he's still sitting there trying to clean the goggles, saying that there's still some blood on there. I can't get it off. And he's like, you guys could see this, right? And he's like talking to Batman and Catwoman. and it's kind of a mind trip for Booster Gold at the end of it. And I really want to see where they're going to put him next, because it seems to me this is a continuing lead up to Booster Gold maybe getting his own series. Or
it's so what I love about this, and this is why I've been loving people who've been doing the art for Batman, is the way they draw Batman and Catwoman together. The different poses they're in, like on the last page. I mean, Batman's there; he's got the cape around him, but Catwoman is crouching like on the rooftop next to him, like a cat would. I just love the way that they portray in the two. And the next issue will be the wedding. The wedding and the Joker is the next issue. But
that's the exact title of the next arc: the wedding and the Joker.
But Tom King, this is an interlude. This was really an interlude before the wedding, and Tom King just nailed it out of the park. Tom King's been nailing it out of the park this entire time. I have really not. I have not liked. I have liked everything he's written since Rebirth.
If you notice at the end of this, where he's with Batman and Catwoman, they're not saying anything. And they give each other a look like, this dude's insane.
Yeah.
Like, they don't really understand what he's been through. He's like, I have to do something. If I don't get clean, everything will look wrong. And the blood in the middle there, you see it too, right? He's like freaking out about the blood on his goggles at the end, and Batman and Catwoman are just standing there. And they don't say a word through the whole issue. Another
interesting thing on this is, in the books they put like Superman created by Batman created by Bob Kane. I like now they are saying with Bill Finger, which is pretty cool. Yeah. So created by Bob Kane with Bill Finger. They did put in this issue Booster Gold created by Dan Jurgens.
Oh, well, good.
That they're giving the credit. Now it's going to be interesting if at some point in comic books, there's going to have to be a whole page for every character that's in the book and who created them.
Well, I mean, why not? I mean, like I said, I was just talking about these credits pages for comics are getting longer and longer and longer. I think that the creators of stuff should get a credit. Just like I'm glad that Kirby's finally getting a spot in the credits of the movies, of Marvel movies and stuff.
Yeah. I was so happy in Guardians that Gerber was getting.
Yeah, I gave Steve Gerber a credit in Guardians. That was cool.
Yeah.
Credit where credit is due, I say.
The next big one that read this week from DC, the only other one I did get a chance to read fully, Justice League No Justice #2.
Yeah, that was definitely I think the most important book this week.
Yeah.
From DC. And no, man, it's getting good.
Snyder, Tenian IV, and Joshua Williamson, of course, your writers, Francis Manipool and Marcus II on the arts. And World's Design did the letters. Francis Manipool, of course, doing the breakdowns and the covers.
Yeah.
This one, of course, following up from Justice League No Justice #1, where the Justice League are now on Brainiac's home planet. Brainiac's brain has been destroyed by Amanda Waller.
She actually downloaded it, so there's a chance he can come back later on in the arc, but they just got to put his brain back in his head.
Waller is now is now 3 miles away from the Fortress of Solitude in the Arctic, looking for something, and she actually runs into Green Arrow.
Yeah, well, he comes looking for her. He's tracked her down.
He's tracked her down.
All the Queen Industries equipment all fried out, and he traced the reason for it back to Amanda Waller.
And he also mentions in this book that all the heroes are gone.
Yeah, she doesn't know that. She thinks that they just screwed everybody over, but she said there's nobody left. They all went into stasis after the rest of the Justice League disappeared. So, like, Aquaman and other guys are, like, just in a stasis thing.
Yeah, he's the only one not in stasis.
But, this one, you finally get to, you kind of understand a little bit about what Brainiac's plan is. You kind of discover why they were all split up and put into different teams with villains and stuff. And you kind of realize, finally, John Jones, finally makes some sense out of it all. It's like, look, because Batman says, screw this, we're just going to split up we're gonna split. We're gonna be the League, and you guys go do your own thing, and we're gonna make our own teams. So I listen to Brainiac, and like John Jones is like, this or Luthor first says, Brainiac was the smartest being in the universe
Besides myself.
Besides me, and then these people in his homeworld are some of the smartest people. And he's like, he put us in this for a reason. So maybe we should follow his plan, or things could go wrong. And John Jones kind of backs him up on that.
Yeah, are you clicking on something?
Yeah, my tray for my CD thing popped out. It won't go back in. There it goes.
I was like, what is that?
No, I got it. It finally went back in. I was trying to. But he John Jones kind of backs him up. So they decide, well, and Batman's like, well, as long as there's a member of the League on each of these teams, I'm okay with it. So they kind of split up, and you kind of find out why Team Entropy is Team Entropy, and why Superman was at Team Hope that Superman's on, or whatever.
Yeah, and you actually do get to kind of see them starting to work together, on these different teams. And I really feel by reading this that Beast Boy is going to have a bigger part to play down the road.
Yeah, I like Beast Boy. Like I've always said, is one of my favorite characters in DC Comics, and I love the interaction with Lobo, where Lobo's like, just turn into the biggest, scariest thing you can think of and knock these walls down. And he's like, okay, and he turns into that giant creature.
It was like a lion dinosaur creature thing.
Yeah, and that's that must be some sort of alien creature. Yeah. Because I didn't think he could become a mythological thing, so it must be something that actually exists.
But yeah, that interaction with him and Lobo was fantastic. I love the interaction with Starro and Martian Manhunter.
Starro in this has been. I love the little blurbs from Starro. The stuff that he says, it just sounds psychotic. The little he like comments on things that the other heroes say, and some of it's just out there stuff. It's wild.
I love it. It's like, Starro, you are the most powerful telepath in the galaxy. And Starro's little bubble says, and it's like in parentheses, it's like most powerful in the universe, but whatever, go on.
Yeah. And Starro, like, his personality has been funny throughout, like, the last couple issues, even through when they met him in Metal, and he was in that, or he was on Thanagar, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was. Yeah, and there's going to be a lot going on, because a character is revealed at the end of this book.
Yeah, man.
I don't want to give away who it is, but that's a big reveal. That's someone we haven't seen in a while. That was a surprise.
Yeah, I did not. That's like the kudos to Tinian and Snyder. I did not see that guy coming at the end. That was like the last guy I considered. And when you think back on it, it seems kind of obvious that it would be who it was. But I
thought it was going to be Arm Fall Off Boy.
I love that character too from old series.
Yeah.
This character that shows up. But very unexpected and a cool wrap up to the end of the issue. But it's getting better. I didn't know what to think about this series with the first issue, because it reminded me a little bit of the Marvel DC crossover with the four brothers and all that. And then this the big Doom robot monster on Brainiac's homeworld looks a whole lot like a Sentinel. Or not a Sentinel, what do you call it? Celestial. That's what I'm trying to.
Yeah.
It looks a whole lot like a Celestial, and so I didn't know what to think. But it's not what I thought it was, and it seems to be a little more like mystical and like all these different like emotion and like of destruction and hope, and like they're all like emotional based teams, I guess. And it has to do with like these world seeds that are on these different planets. And it's like this, it's almost like a knowledge monster. It's like Brainiac times a billion that is attracted to knowledge of these planets and these seeds, and it grows these energy trees on top of these world seeds. That's what Waller is trying to find in the Arctic, is the Earth's world seed thing. But it's definitely, the series is not what I expected from the first issue. It's definitely becoming something pretty cool. It has notes of Crisis in it almost a little bit, of like Crisis on Infinite Earths, with the way all these different heroes and villains are paired up. But I'm digging it so far, man.
Yeah.
Like I'm on this picture of Beast Boy when he turns into this giant creature. It's pretty awesome.
Definitely. So we'll, of course, this is one that we're definitely going to be following up on.
Oh yeah, this is one I'll be getting hard copies of everything. So this is definitely a series to be reading right now. The Aftermath of Metal. It's pretty good stuff. I trust Snyder to turn in a good story when he's on a project like this, and having him and Tinian both on it, and the artwork, and Manipool doing artwork and stuff, it's pretty awesome. So I would recommend it. I would go so far as to say that No Justice #2 is probably my pick of the week this week.
I'm gonna have to agree with that. No Justice is my pick of the week this week.
Although I did like Batman a whole lot.
Yeah.
That's gonna be a runner-up for sure.
Yep, and of course I'll also give it also up to Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. Really enjoyed that.
Oh yeah.
So we want to thank you guys for listening. We'll be back next week with more reviews. So until next week, make sure you hit up that comic book store this week. Pick up your books. Follow us at Space Chief 75, Nerd Rage Renegades, and remember every Thursday you can catch Renegade Reviews on Stitcher, Podbean, Player FM, iTunes, Google Play, and YouTube.
That's right.
So until next week. Good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody.
Nerd Rage Renegades.